Welcome to Inside Builder channel, my friends, Python experts, and artificial intelligence automators. Unleash the power of machine learning pipelines with Towhee, blueprint to work with unstructured data. So whatever you are seeing here, whether it's LangChain, Hugging Face, the Towhee, it's a new tool that I came across recently, Python, and finally unstructured library. All these can help us to work with unstructured data that is available in this world. That's what we are going to discuss in this video. What is the challenge? The Towhee solves. Towhee solves a very different kind of a challenge. See, what happens is we have lots of models. You must have already seen that in the earlier videos where I introduced Hugging Face pipeline. So let me go to the browser for a moment, and there I have already have a separate entire playlist discussing about the NLP mastering the NLP with Hugging Face. So there are lots of models available, and also if you take the look at this particular playlist where I discuss about LangChain, so you must be already aware that there are lots of ways to work with the to work and get the predictions from the data, but each of these models will have different interfaces, right? So in case of Hugging Faces, we have to use Transformers library, or in case of OpenAI, we have to use their own library. Some models give you embeddings directly, some models don't give you embeddings. And how to connect your regular unstructured data like PDF, images, text files, all those things. How are we going to do that? So we already saw one of the libraries that we came across, Unstructured, is a very good example for this that I placed it here also. One of the most important library that I had covered till date. So you can take a look at my earlier playlist for that. I will share that also video along with this. Towhee works in a different way. What Towhee does is it actually creates a new kind of a data structure which can work with the neural network models and also work with the unstructured data. So and also the most important benefit it offers is it has almost 300 pre-built pipelines across multitude of modalities, like how we have Hugging Face pipelines, right? So similarly, they have Towhee also has similar kind of pipelines, but these pipelines go beyond the regular machine learning or artificial intelligence models. You can build the Python functions as pipelines inside this Towhee library. We'll be seeing, as I jump into the code, you will understand what's going on. As I was telling, arbitrary complexity, you can build the pipelines. You must be wondering, okay, Kamal, this pipeline looks very much like the ETL pipelines that you see in data engineering. Believe me, the reason why I like this library a lot is because that it can actually create pipelines, do ETL activity, and finally get the embeddings to you and also put it inside the database. All this can be done. It's an interesting library, and I really want you guys to explore it to the core. There are two kinds of APIs. There is Pythonic API, which actually helps you work with Python related functions that you write by yourself, and also you can use operators option that is available inside the Towhee to use Pythonic functions. Okay, why I'm talking about Python first? Because Python is my first love. Now comes data collection. Data collection is the data structure that has been introduced by Towhee. It also has method chaining capabilities. It can make assembling the data processing very easy. You can research the algorithms inside the pipeline because you can actually attach Python functions inside those pipelines. I will be showing you how to do that and apply the models to the real world business. This process actually makes data collection API a really important activity that you need to understand. You see what they have done here? They have abstracted away a lot of complexity from the reality. Okay, until you have to anyway understand how the models are going to work. So do take a look at my earlier videos where how the embeddings are working, how the real world unstructured data is converted to embeddings. Everything I've explained. You have to understand that. Then Towhee helps you to automate that process in a very elegant fashion. I should use that word. It's actually elegant. Right, and so all these things are already told inside Towhee's website. Let me go to Towhee's website for a moment. That's very important. They are the heroes. X to vec. Towhee is all you need. X to vec, here X is anything. So X could be text, image, audio, video, whatever you want. You can convert it into vectors, and then you can use it for your predictions. That is the the key features that they are talking about. And as I always say, they are open source, most importantly, and you can take their GitHub repo also. I'll be showing you guys how to go to their GitHub repo and start using. They have an awesome documentation also. Take a look at their documentation. So this is their GitHub repository where they explain everything to you guys. And so also they share the various models. So what kind of models gets integrated into their pipeline and into their hub is also shared in this particular page. And you can see the overview here. You can see their user guides. One thing that I see, when you go to the quick start, right, they actually show you how to install, how to start working with data collection, etc. This could be a little bit overwhelming, and that's when I felt that their examples that they share here in this place, it is much more useful for you guys. So you go to this place. This is where I am learning from. See, at the end of the day, my intention is to help the ecosystem grow. So that's why I'm sharing from where I am taking the data from, and the value, as I always say, that I'm adding here is to show you how the data moves between the functions or between the various steps that the examples are shown. So here you see the entire examples that I'll be working on. Okay, I'll be starting with the getting started with Towhee example, right? So this is where I am starting from. So, and leave a start for these guys, and it's one of the excellent application out there. So they have just 2K stars, guys. They should have 2 lakh stars. In fact, they have such a wonderful application, and not many are knowing this. So do leave a star, share it with your friends and people who are trying to learn the technology. So let us go back to the presentation. So yeah, enough of this theory, enough of giving all this things that is great about this particular library. So let us get into the code. When it comes to code, Towhee works with all kinds of libraries that is already available inside Python. So it's a Python library. And it also works with OpenCV, because for image it works with OpenCV, and for audio also it has a separate library for it. I am not concentrating on audio because I am not mostly using audio as a data that in my regular activity, so I'm not concentrating that. But if you guys want me to look into that, do leave a comment, let me look into that. Now coming back to the question, Towhee can work with pandas. You will be seeing in the next video, I'll be explaining how to work with pandas. It has built-in map and filter functions. It can also work with multiple modes, that is using stream mode as well as list mode. You will be seeing the difference in a couple of minutes. Data collection data structure. The data collection data structure inside Towhee does not hold the data. This is very, very important. It does not hold the data, so it cannot be used for indexing. And it takes one element from the input and applies stage by stage. So it will go stage by stage. So here you see an example here. So data collection, it starts with a range. It's a simple range function that is used inside Python. And we are checking whether isPrime. isPrime is the Python function that I have not shown here. You can send any function in this, and then you can filter it using this simple lambda function. Okay, now hold on. So you might be thinking, Kamal, this is all too complex for me. How to master these things? So I'll be showing. So that is the intention of practice. so if you're thinking, okay, how to master these things, I am unable to read the code. What happens is the scenario in the world is drastically changing. So it is the time when we could read the code and understand what is going on inside is past. Okay. Now, if I ask you to read, okay, X or Y, just read this data collection.range filter lambda equal to X and map equal to string. So if I ask you to read this, and you might be wondering, okay, first you must be able to ask this question, what is isPrime and what is str? Okay, if you don't ask that question, then you might be actually stuck. And if there is no answer provided to you, and you will be literally not able to get the value, get the understanding of what is going on here. So the abstraction layer has been drastically increased. When I say abstraction layer, what I mean is that isPrime is a functional abstraction of a complex activity algorithm inside. Here again, string is a function that converts a number or a particular data type into string data type. So as we can see here, after doing all this activity like range, finding the prime and finding the primes that are in above in tens, then it actually converts to string. All this activity is done inside this particular pipeline. This is what I was calling as pipeline. Yeah, when I explain to you guys, yes, it seems that you can understand. But when you try it out in your code, then you'll start facing the challenge. So always take, whenever the video is running, place the video at the side of your, get a bigger monitor. That's very important. Get a bigger monitor, split the monitor into, take a single monitor. You don't need to buy 2 monitors also. Take a single monitor, have a Windows manager. Like there are lots of managers outside, like DWM if you're using Linux. If you're using Windows, then you can try to partition it using the existing Windows options itself, so that you can see the video in parallel to the Colab or Jupyter Notebook that you're working on. In that way, what will happen is that whatever I'm telling, and if you are unable to get the code executed, then you can immediately note it down and start researching on that. And also you can comment me out in the YouTube, the comment section, and you can discuss there also. That's very important. Also, more important point is that do subscribe to my channel, so that you will get more updates regarding such libraries related to artificial intelligence, big data, and Python as a whole, right to your YouTube dashboard. And I hope that you will like this content and do share it with others. Let us go to the browser right now, and I'm going to enter into the Colab notebook. So the link for the GitHub notebook will be shared with you guys, so you don't need to worry about that. This is the Towhee exploration introduction that I'll be doing, and you have to install, in case of Colab, you have to install whatever I'm showing it to you guys here. It's in Colab environment because that everybody can use it very easily. That is the main reason I am using Colab. When you are running this particular example, run this notebook inside your local environment and ensure that you can install all these applications, because only when you can do it in your local environment, it is, you can say that, okay, you can use it for your other activities. Or else what will happen is, you will be able to do it in Colab environment, but when you actually move into local environment, your machine may not be supporting it. So you might have to do some additional software installations, or you have to modify your operating system also. So be ready for such kinds of challenge. That's why, I'm insisting that take this particular notebook to your local environment and start working from there. So after installing the basic libraries, we are going to import Towhee as TW. This is a basic starting process, and we are going to use the data collection API. So the data collection API, data structure, I'll be calling them data collection from now on. It's very difficult to pronounce it, data collection, data structure. So I'll be calling it as DC. So tw.dc can work on the regular Python list. So you have any kind of list, you can convert it to DC, and from DC is like a list. So, and it is more than a list. I am telling it's like a list, but you will see that it has superpowers. Now what happens is, this is a list, right? Now what you can do is, you can actually create the DC in fashion of, you can give arguments or features that you can create using DC. So you can give ints and strings and create entities out of the DC data structure. And once you try to get the list out of it, you will see that it is coming as entity, and it is internally, it is like dictionary. So if you want to take a look at each of these entities, that is especially the ints, then you have to use this kind of a I have shown it here in list comprehension. Okay, so this is list comprehension that I have shown, but you can use a simple for loop, and you can print x.ints and you will get the value. So, and same way, if you say x.strs strings, then you will get the string value. So this is a very different way of working with the list data structure. Okay, so the Towhee team has taken a different route in this library. You will be seeing why they have taken this route in a couple of minutes. And you can have multiple attributes. So these ints and strings are called as attributes, and you can have multiple attributes in the same entity also, and you can get the value out. So you see how you can make it as complex as you want, guys. Okay, but you don't need to go in this route. There are better routes. I'll be sharing it to you in a couple of minutes. Okay, now coming to the you can use the DCEN3.show and you will get the show. This is very similar to how PySpark works, or Spark environment works. So if you guys are aware of the big data cluster related libraries, then you'll be knowing this kind of show options availability. And here we see that the map method that is available with DC, and here you see the filter method. These are all pretty simple functions that is getting used here. So instead of using lambda, you can also create a separate function, and that function can be yeah, I can just show it to you. So for an example, I have not initiated, so let me start initiating the process, because I have not run the notebook till now. So let me run the notebook, and let me show you some examples here, so it will be easier for you guys to understand. Because at the end of the day, what I'm doing is I'm running through a basic introduction of Towhee. And this basic introduction is very, very important, because once you understand these things, right, you can jump into much more complex pipelines that is going to come next. So that's why I told you guys to subscribe to my channel. So I'll be working on the tabular data as well as the working with pandas data frame in the next video. And after that, I'll be working on image search as well as text to text search. All these are in the pipeline. So do subscribe to my channel for further updated videos on this. So getting back to the browser, it is taking a little bit of a time because I'm installing all the libraries manually. This is a good practice, because if the library is not there, and also it's a good practice if you are going to use virtual environments. And usually what happens in Python is that you will create a virtual environment, you will have the requirement text file available with you, and the requirements is given to you. However, I don't want to follow that route. The reason is very simple. So virtual environment creation and keeping track of the virtual environments can be little cumbersome. I prefer that, okay, you guys install everything in your local environment. It's okay. I mean, it's going to be bloated with lots of information, but at the end of the day, it will be simple. Let us not complicate things, guys. Keep it as simple as possible. When you're going into production, when you are going to work with a team, then probably you need to understand those stuff, because you need to also keep your environment clean when you're working with a team. But when you're working for yourself, when you are trying to learn something new, don't complicate it. Keep the things simple so that you can concentrate on what exactly is required. So that's the intention of doing this stuff. I hope that you guys like that. Coming to, yeah, so all these things are getting executed, and when I say show, if I say show for 2, it will show for 2, and if I don't say anything, then it will show all the data that is available. And yeah, this is where I was trying to explain, right? So for an example, if I use map, so it is mapping the value of x with x and multiplying it with 2. Okay, so if I do this, so I take this, I copy it because it is easy to copy, and I take and make it a string. Okay, and then I execute this. So what will happen is, string is an internal function that is already available in Python, right? So once I use map with string, then all the output will become string value. So this is what map is about. And lambda function also works in the same way. So if you have a function that can filter out the data, then you can give the function to this filter and it starts working. Now comes the interesting part. You can actually start chaining these methods. So you can start filtering, you can start mapping, and you can do a lot of stuff. So this is what you see here. And okay, so here I'll explain to you, because it might be a little difficult for the beginners. So what happens here is that we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what I'm doing here is that first and foremost I'm taking a modulo. So I'm taking each of this value and taking a modulo on 3. So 0 will be 0, but 1 will be equal to 1, correct? So x modulo 3, that is 1 modulo 3 will be 1, and 2 modulo 3 will not be 1, 3 modulo 3 also will not be 1. So 4 modulo 3 will be 1. So 1 and 4 will get returned. After I filter it based on this lambda, I will get 1 and 4. So 1 plus 5 is 6, right? That 6 multiplied by 2 is 12. So this is the output that I'm getting. And same way, 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 multiplied by 2 is 18. So this is what I was telling. So it goes stage by stage over the pipeline and gets you the output. Understanding this step is very, very crucial. So once you understand this, you will see that instead of using lambda here, you will be using the actual machine learning models. And also we will be using one more entity, I shouldn't say entity, one more module inside Towhee called as ops. So you have to understand how this particular chaining works. So try to work with a couple of examples. Make your own examples. It is the toughest part Sorry for the interruption. So we are discussing about the method chaining. So this is one thing that you guys have to properly master. Make your own examples. Once you try to think about your own examples working with the various functions, what will happen is you will start practicing. So lots of mistakes will happen. In fact, what I would suggest is that try to modify different different variables. Try to work with multiple variables here. Try to work with multiple lists and also multiple variables, so you will understand what is going on. So you can pull in this concept of ints, that is entities, and see how it works with lambda and filter. Once you can master that, you will know how the actual data collection data collection class works inside Towhee. I'm not actually doing that here. If you guys face any challenges, do let me know. We can work on that. Next coming is the lazy evaluation. So what happens is when you are going to use the iterator, in Python there is a concept called as iterator. The iterator will give the value only when you use the next command or the next method inside the iterator. So you can use the iterator inside the DC and you can get the streaming capability. So you see that the DC will become as an iterator and you can start iterating over these kinds of pipelines. So there are benefits of this. I'm not actually going to compare it right now. For the types of problems that we are going to work, this will not become a major issue, because there is going to be bottlenecks of memory and compute power. For the problems that we are going to work will not be that much of an issue. So I'm not actually going into this streaming capacity right now. Now, this is the important point. I'll be going in detail about this particular ops in the next video. However, the point I wanted to make is that there is a module called as ops inside Towhee. Towhee has been imported as TW, and inside ops we can actually pull down various kinds of functions. So here we are using Towhee.image decode. So what happens here is that when I say Towhee.image decode, it actually converts to Towhee/image decode. So that is the name. That is how the internal hub is maintained inside Towhee. Okay, what I mean by hub, what I mean by the method, what I mean by this functions, you can see it here. So you see here in this particular, I suppose you guys are able to see that. So Towhee is the folder. This is the repo that is getting maintained by Towhee hub, and image decode is the function that is inside the repo called Towhee. Same way, when you go into decode, image decode, there is again one more module called as CV2, which is also required for decoding, which is inside the repo image decode. So all this are done when you call this. All this activity of cloning the repo, pulling it locally and start working, all these things are automated from you. And after that, all you need to do is, in order to decode this image, so this is a Pixabay image thanks to Hong-san from Pixabay. I have taken that particular image and I'm going to execute this. This image will get converted to vectors. So you see that the activity is getting done. And so if there is a problem with the image, so the image can be, sometimes the variables can be different. So don't worry about that. You can actually go to take any of the images and you can start working with the image directly. Okay, the image will look like this. This is the image that I had used. And this image I have used for plot, and you can actually get the image value out. Next point. So this is where I was telling. So this is one of the points where you can pull the functions from the hub. This is in Towhee hub, we can pull it from there. Also, you can create your own functions and you can register it into Towhee. So this is the module that you can use. So you can use the @register decorator and you can register it, and you can use that inside the pipeline also, the way I used it here inside the pipeline. So this is the end of the presentation. So you can let me go to the PDF again. The point I am trying to make here is that by using the Towhee, you can start working on various kinds of activity. This is the basic that I have shown you. So the next step, we will be working on tabular data, and also we will be working on image data in a more detailed level. So I'll be showing you how to do that. And I will also be sharing the image links. So in this case, the image links were not working properly. I will update that in the repo. Once you open the repo, you will have the image link itself. So you can use that and change the change the image, should not be an issue. So I hope that you guys like this particular video, and do share it with others, and subscribe to my channel so further updates on LangChain, Towhee, Unstructured, and various Python libraries related to large language models and artificial intelligence related libraries will be directly sent to your YouTube dashboard. With that, guys, thanks for watching, and I always leave with 4 words, that is practice, 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 practice. See you.